Today, I want to dive into something that we all deal with at some point, and that is failure. It's not the most fun thing to talk about, but I've realized over time, failure is actually the best teacher out there, both within your real life. I mean, if you want to compare it to gaming, it's one of the best ways to learn. So in this video, I'll share a few stories of times I blew it, what I learned, how it shaped me, and hopefully it'll give you some encouragement to just keep going even when things don't go as planned. Alrighty, so college. I've shared this story before. My first year of college, I did really good. I got solid grades. I stayed focused. My second and third year, I did not. I fell into the trap of C's get degrees, and that led me to getting a bunch of C's and D's. I wasn't like intentionally trying to blow things off. I just was sort of coasting, right? In high school, I was able to get away with not putting in a ton of effort, right? And still being able to get by. And I did some of the AP classes and got through them. But when I got to college, I didn't read the fine print that if you got a bunch of C's and D's, your GPA would drop into this sort of red zone. And basically the university had a policy where you needed to maintain a B as your overall GPA. And if it dropped below that, you had one semester to get it back up, or you were booted from the program. You would have to go take other classes unrelated to your major to get it back up in that B range. And I felt like such a fool when I got that letter in the mail. I was like, straight up, like, hated myself. There's no other way to put it. I was so angry that I had let something just slip like that. And it was my fault. I should have read closer. I should have paid more attention. And look, at the time, it was easy. I made up excuses. Basically, the advisor at the university that I was at, I had, I think, 6 different advisors in the years that I was there. It was like a revolving door of things changing. And like multiple times I would have advisors who gave advice that was just straight up wrong. Like right when I was graduating, the final semester picking classes, the advisor's like, oh, you don't need that one. Yeah, you're totally good. You can drop that. And sure enough, I dropped the class, and then immediately the little portal online that you needed to tick all the boxes for graduation's like, no, you need a credit in this space. Thankfully, I scrambled and I got it back on the schedule. But that's not the point of any of that. It's I needed to take ownership of my actions like sooner. So I remember getting that letter. I still have that stupid letter. I keep it in my bag, my work bag. And it's like this kind of cool reminder for me, because the next 3 years of school took me 5 years to graduate. Like nobody in my program. Can we just talk about that? This is a sidebar. Dude, universities, a lot of them are just there as such a cash cow, and they've built the system to where, I don't know if it's like this now, but for me, like nobody was graduating in 4 years. They had built it to where all the super seniors had the seniority when it came to picking classes, so I couldn't get any of the major classes I needed the first few years. Lo and behold, you're paying another year of tuition, and it's not really in the university's best interest to get you out in 4 years, is it? So anyway, I keep that letter as a reminder because I grinded my face off. Once that happened, it was like, I can either take this low point and be bummed, or we can make a shift. So I signed up for night classes and I did summer school, and I legit grinded harder than I ever had before academically. It was not fun. It wasn't easy. I legit would get on campus at like 8 a.m. and I would leave at 10 at night because I had packed the schedule as full as possible, but slowly things started to turn around. I wasn't just doing the bare minimum anymore. I was trying to put in the work, and that grind taught me more discipline than just about anything else in life for me. And by the time I graduated, I was super proud of the accomplishment because it was so hard. I wasn't the best student by any means, but I learned that it's never too late to turn things around if you're willing to put in the effort. And I wouldn't have learned any of that without hitting kind of that low point. Failure pushed me to become better, and I'm kind of thankful for it. And it's still like this defining lesson. Like if I could go back in time, yeah, I would do differently. Like I would change things and explore it a little bit differently. But like those experiences and those hard times in the past make you who you are today. So tying it into gaming, because it is a gaming channel here. While this was happening, I was really enjoying Starcraft 2. Halo was basically off of the MLG circuit at this point. If any of you remember 2012-ish era, Justin TV, which was about to become Twitch TV, was all Starcraft. Like the biggest category was always Starcraft 2 and streamers there. And MLG was being just taken over by Starcraft 2. And I really wanted to learn it. I never played an RTS game before. And one of my goals was like, maybe I can get to Diamond. Because if you could get to the Diamond rank, you could play in the collegiate Starcraft League. I played Terran. I put in so many hours. I treated it like a musical instrument. I really put in the time to learn. And what ended up happening is I got to Platinum over and over again. But I just couldn't break into Diamond. And every time I hit that wall, I'd get to high Platinum, I'd lose, I'd drop down again. I got super frustrated. And at the time, I was blaming everything but myself. I was in the Heart of the Swarm era talking about how imbalanced Protoss was, bad matchmaking, whatever. I didn't really want to admit that the problem was me and the fact that, yes, I was macroing my face off, but I made a bunch of Marines and Marauders every single game. I never made tech shifts. I never responded to the situation I was in, looking at what the enemy was doing and adjusting and adapting my game plan to it. I just wanted to be mad that my preset game plan wasn't working. And I think it's sort of funny looking back, there's a parallel between both the college thing and what was happening with me in StarCraft 2. I wasn't taking ownership of my progress. Instead of sitting down, reviewing my replays, and actually learning from my mistakes, just kept grinding ladder matches, hoping that eventually I'd break through. But that's not how it works. You can't just mindlessly grind and expect to get better. You've got to be intentional about improving. And it wasn't until I started taking responsibility for my progress that things really started to change. I finally admitted to myself that, I am the reason I'm not moving forward. And in StarCraft 2, you really can't blame anything but yourself. It's a 1v1 game, right? It's like a fighting game. It's your decisions that led to the outcome at the end of the match. So I started watching my replays, paying more attention to what I was doing wrong, putting in the effort to grow. And funny enough, I started to see improvement. And I hit Diamond. But it's kind of funny about that timing. I didn't really play much StarCraft 2 the last year and a half of school because I was focused on graduating. And it was about 1 month after I graduated that I just skyrocketed up to mid to high Diamond. And I remember right after graduating, I was laddering like a month later and it just kind of happened. It's really not about how many hours you put in, it's about how you use those hours. It's about taking ownership of your actions and learning from your failures instead of grinding aimlessly or being lost in the sauce of frustration and anger. So those two experiences, the college and the StarCraft element, maybe they're separate, I don't know, but they taught me a similar lesson. Whether it's in the game or if it's real life, you will fail. You're going to hit walls, you're going to get stuck, but that doesn't mean that you're not making progress. In both situations, I was failing because I wasn't fully engaged and I wasn't really taking ownership of my own choices and I wasn't learning from my own mistakes. And once that mindset shifted, everything else started to change as well. I think that applies to pretty much everything. Gaming, school, work, relationships. You've got to be willing to take a step back, look at what's not working, make adjustments, and try. Failure is not the enemy. It's actually one of the most powerful tools that you have. It can teach us our weak spots. It can teach us where we need to improve. And the same goes for life. If something's just not working, if you're not getting the results you want, try and take a step back, assess, be nice to yourself, okay? It's really easy to just go into the self-hatred and blaming everything. But there is a way to do it where you're kind to yourself as well, where you're learning from your mistakes. So I don't know what you're going through right now. Maybe this applies on the gaming side more than the life side. I'm just here to encourage you. Don't give up. Failure isn't the end of the road. It is a part of the journey, and it can be the crux towards the next big step. So, yeah, if you have any stories similar, I would love to hear them down in the comments below. I really appreciate everybody. I hope you're having a great week, and I will see you again very soon.